Hello everybody, welcome to the Poland Naturalist. We're out here today at Waterhouse Brook and we're going to be talking about this beautiful wildflower right here, pink lady slipper. Now the Latin name for pink lady slipper is Cypripedium accal, and it's a member of the orchid family. We're going to be talking about some of the things that make this such a cool species of wildflower. There's its life cycle, there's a relationship with the soil fungus, and there's also the fact that just like many other orchids around the world, it's sexually deceptive. It's a member of the orchid family, which is a very large family in the plant kingdom. There's over 30,000 individual species. It's right up there with Astraceae, which is another massive family in the plant kingdom. So in Maine, we have 4 different species of lady slippers. You have this one here is pink lady slipper, sometimes called moccasin flower. But we also have yellow lady slipper, we have ram's head lady slipper, and showy lady slipper. Now many people think that pink lady slippers like this are rare, but they're actually not really endangered anywhere in their range. And there's just a lot of things about them that make it difficult to propagate, and there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't cut them or take them or move them anywhere. So I want to talk a little bit about that. This species is actually distributed all across the eastern North America. Their range is from Nova Scotia west into Nebraska and south into Mississippi and Alabama. So they cover a pretty good sized geographical range, and they're doing pretty well almost everywhere that they're at. The habitat is pretty much like what you're seeing here. They're going to be in a mixed hardwood coniferous forest, usually with pine and hemlock. They'll grow really good in rocky, mossy slopes and that type of thing. But one of the main things that they really need most of all is a lot of acid in the soil. If the pH gets as high as 5, they will wind up dying. Plant will rot. So it needs highly acidic soil in order to maintain its living conditions. And a lot of that has to do with the mycorrhizal relationship that it has with soil fungus. So I'll get into that a little bit in a minute, but it's just another example of the specialized conditions that this plant needs to grow and why it's not a good idea to move them around. So as you can see here, this is the structure of the lady slipper, and this is how the plant functions when it's attracting a pollinator. So the bee will have to actually fly in here and split this apart, and it creates that opening. And the bee goes inside and he gets trapped, and he doesn't have any choice but to climb up through here and out through this little hole. Now this little hole at the top is where all the reproductive parts are. This is the column, and these are the reproductive parts where he receives the polonium that make the pollination process possible. So some of the research that I read indicate that this species you'll only see 5% effective pollination. So only 5% of the population is being pollinated. And when you take into consideration things like how long it takes one of these things to grow, because from seed time, when it actually produces seeds, to when you actually see the first bloom can be upwards to 6 to 7 years. And so when you see something like that, any type of harvesting is going to be adversely affecting the population. So not only do we have issues with the particular soil pH, and then also the relationship that it has with its mycorrhizal fungal associate, it's the longevity of this species is affected by how slow it reproduces. So it's something to think about when we talk about it may not be an endangered species, but it's probably not one that we want to try to use or to utilize or move around or cut. So one of the other things that's really cool about this particular plant species is this mycorrhizal relationship it has with the soil fungus. So the soil fungus and the plant's roots interact together to help in a symbiotic relationship to provide nutrients to one another. But this whole plant, Cypripedium macale, it actually takes it to a whole new level. The seeds can't germinate without the fungus in the soil. So those seeds need to fall onto a soil surface that actually contains that fungus. And what the fungus does, it actually cracks the seed open, and it will provide that seed with the nutrients it needs to slowly turn into a plant. So it actually helps that seed turn into a lady slipper. And then once the plant is big enough, in a couple, 2 or 3 years, the roles start to reverse a little bit, and once that plant is producing carbohydrates and stuff through the sugars it does during photosynthesis, it actually starts to feed the fungus as well. So, as you can see, pink lady slipper is one of the more unique and fascinating species of wildflower that we have around here. And conservation efforts depend upon people understanding what exactly it needs and where to look for it. So if you could like and share this with all your friends, and hopefully we can start an effort to conserve habitat for this species, as well as helping people understand exactly why it's important not to move this particular plant around. I hope you've enjoyed this time here today with Poland Naturalist, and I hope to do more of these in the future.